Just left the Bell Center after Saturday night's main event. At this point, I know it's freshness bias, but Sami Zayn becoming the number one contender, that amazing start that wasn't really a match, a really good women's tag match, and I guess a classic wrestling match, a New Japan style wrestling match. I think this is my favorite live show I've seen. Let's go into detail, though. Welcome to Silo Voice Wrestling on YouTube and the Silo Voice Wrestling podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jason C. McLean, and this is my review of Saturday night's main event in Montreal. And yes, it was quite the show, so let's get right into... I'm kidding. I wore the jacket so there wouldn't be such a jolt in the visual. I was thinking of actually having a green screen background of a photo from outside the Bell Center, so you think I did the whole thing outside the Bell Center, but obviously it was way too cold to do that. So I'll take off the jacket. This was the shirt that I was wearing last night supporting Sami Zayn. As noted on the broadcast several times, or we saw the little thing on the screen with the weather, sponsored by Tourism Montreal, but they kept talking about how cold it was, but it was really freezing cold last night. Not completely unheard of for Montreal, but something we get every few years, not every year. It was really cold, but it was, as they said, really hot inside the Bell Center. I'm also recording this the next day, the 25th of January. Had time to digest the show a bit. While my reviews, I usually, I go into more detail and I give like gradings and all that. This one's going to be colored by not recency bias. I mean, obviously recency bias plays a part, but also in-person bias. There is something very different when you see some of these shows in person. Up till now, I've seen live the Holiday Tour house show. I've seen 3 SmackDowns and a Raw. But this is my first time seeing either a PLE or a PLE adjacent thing like Saturday night's main event live. And okay, let's get right into it. Now, we started off with Stephanie McMahon, and she was actually just to the side over there of us, so we could see a sort of a good view of her from the other side. But the thing is, her audio didn't play in the Bell Center for the first 30 to 45 seconds. And then we heard it, so we missed the part where she said Joe Tessitore was trapped because of the snow, couldn't get a flight, couldn't get into town. So I obviously I was focused on other things, but I was wondering the whole time. I was like, maybe they had Joe Tessitore there in the first place because they didn't trust Jesse Ventura going out alone, but they did trust Stephanie. But turns out no, he's her regular broadcast partner, but he wasn't there. It was cool to see the show start with her. Now, before the show started, when we were in our seats, my brother Joe, by the way, thank you, Joe, for the tickets. It was my ticket was a Christmas present, and of course came to the show with me, and he shot the footage of me outside the Bell Center that you've seen, and we'll see again later. He went to the concession stand, came back with some popcorn, and he told me that standing right outside of our section, like the entranceway to our section, was a camera guy, a camera operator, and a bunch of the fake wrestling security guards, like the local indie wrestlers who were dressed up as security. And I was like, ooh, I guess we're starting hot with Cody and Jacob Fatu, which I found out later kind of my suggestion of that kind of spoiled it for him. My thinking was, okay, Jey Uso's not on this show. The only thing it could be is a run, and maybe Sami's going to come in, but no, Sami's definitely in the main event. Anyways, so the first match, well, it wasn't really a match. It was ended up being scheduled physical confrontation between two people, Cody Rhodes versus Jacob Fatu. At least at the beginning, the crowd was, I think Montreal and some crowds have sort of soured on Cody a bit. Jacob got a way bigger reaction when he was cutting his little promo backstage. He comes out. The entrances were great. This, by the way, this is like our view of the scene. And yeah, so like the entrances, everything looked really great, really like good production for the live audience too. I always thought wrestling is theater, and getting to see it as theater, especially this time, was theater all around. So yeah, Jacob comes out and Cody comes out. Pyro, there's still a good reaction when he came out, but they actually... Jacob attacked him during his pyro, and they fought all around, all these security guards, and like all around the building. They go the other way first, and then, but I kind of figured they were coming back to our area because I had heard what my brother told me. And then they come up and they're going up the other way, and they're going to come out our section. And people start realizing, wait, are they going to come out our section? People started rushing. And of course, the security guards would not let them down, obviously. Now, I saw the fight. I did try and take some pictures. Like, I got a few pictures when they were like further down. Although I realized, why was my instinct to take a picture? This is being filmed anyways. And the instinct is to like be there and see it live. Maybe my brother actually, he thinks he got on camera, but you can see him back in the crowd. If I can screen grab it, we'll put it up. Right, that's him there. We think am I there? I don't know. And it was great. And they come down, and then Drew McIntyre just attacks them both. We all booed Drew. I heard online some people were complaining they didn't get an actual match. Now, storyline wise, it makes sense. It wasn't an actual match because you don't want to see who would win that match. You want to do that match again, possibly in the Royal Rumble. Maybe later, maybe WrestleMania even, maybe. That could be a few. Just the way they started this, like this is what was needed storyline-wise. And seeing it live, honestly, this was even better. This was, they fought right beside us. Also, there's the people in the concession stand who I think weren't prepared for this to happen, and they seemed a little bit shocked, but they seemed entertained. And they went through a table outside. I'm sure that table was set up just for this, but the rest of the people were sort of innocent. Just the experience, having them fight beside us, I never experienced that before, and it was really exciting, really fun to watch. If I can't really grade it because it's not a match, but if it would, I'd give it an A+, like just for the experience of it. And I rewatched it later on video to see if I can see myself on TV. But yeah, and it looked good. It was a really hot start to the show. The perfect way to do it. Excellent. Next up, the team of Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, or Rio, defended the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships against the Judgment Day's Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. Now, this was the match. This is definitely the most like high-flying, fast-paced match of the night. And it was also the one I think that was the most over in our section, at least. We love us some Rhea Ripley. Although she was not too fond of our weather, and I guess her reception at the hotel on social media, it's a whole other story. I love this. I thought it was great. I mean, I love never seen Io Sky wrestle before. We see her fail on a moonsault when Roxanne got the legs up. We see her hit a moonsault. There was the interference from Raquel Rodriguez, which I kind of figured. I was like, oh shit, are Rio actually going to lose? Because that would be a way they could lose and still, but no, they're not going to lose in their first defense. But then I was actually surprised. It made sense, but Stephanie Vaquer was there with no boot, and she got a huge pop coming out too, really over. And they're setting up that rivalry perfectly, like excellent. She chased Raquel off, and it was a pretty very very exciting match. And even though I thought Rio was going to retain, I didn't absolutely think that was going to happen. So I thought there was a chance they might flip the titles, and it was really exciting because when Io was down, Roxanne just sort of put her arm on her, like 1-2. Fortunately, Io kicked out at the last minute. There was a bit in the middle where Rio was kind of late to break up the pin, so Io just kicked out. And you know what? That was good handling of the situation. Rhea did kind of make it there, but that was a good cover. Io Sky I guess they all have really good ring awareness, but like she knew exactly where Rhea was and that Rhea might not make it there, so she kicked it. That was really well done. The ending was clever there. Liv hits the Oblivion on Io without realizing that Rhea had tagged herself in. So Rhea comes and gets the Riptide on Liv, kicks Liv down, gives the Riptide 1, 2, 3, massive pop. Great end to the match. This was a fun, fast-paced match, and from our vantage point, like we were on behind the camera, and we were pretty close to the ring, and we were high up in the Reds, but everything's good view. Of course, everyone was doing their performance, like the entrances, like Liv and Roxanne too, but Rhea and Io did their the whole like entrance thing on the ropes there to us, which was great, and the match was really fun. Now, if I was just viewing this, comparing it to other matches I've seen them in, I probably would have maybe given it an A. But you know what? Just the in-person aspect of it, just seeing a really fun match. And yeah, the Roxanne interfering was kind of predictable, but it was actually kind of like interesting, really well executed how they did it. Io hits the moonsault. Ref is counting 1, 2. Roxanne pulls Rhea down, and Rhea knocks out the ref. So that's the ref bump, and that was well executed. And seeing it live, I obviously an A+. I mean, honestly, everything on the show is going to be an A+ because from my live experience. But I'll also tell you what I might have given it if I had watched it online. But yeah. Then we had the phenomenal AJ Styles against Shinsuke Nakamura. I'll level with you. I've never really watched New Japan. I'm aware of like the history of the Bullet Club. These two have history together. And I only really got I was into WWE in the Hulkamania era, the Attitude Era. And then when the brand split first happened, I was in my 20s. I was going out to bars. I kind of lost interest in it, but I only got back into it. Like just the start of, I guess, the Triple H era, like 2022, 2023. So I missed their first WWE match at WrestleMania, or their previous match at WrestleMania. So I didn't have the history going in, but I knew there was history, and you could tell. And from what I saw an excellent match, really technical match, really well executed. I thought AJ would win, but honestly, I didn't really care. I was just witnessing like two pros going at it, like history, and it was just really incredible match. Like this, even if I saw it on video after, didn't see it live, if I didn't see it in person, I still would have given it an A+. So obviously it's getting an A+. But we had like an attempted Kinshasa, but then AJ tries to get the Styles Clash, doesn't. Eventually he does the phenomenal forearm and the Styles Clash, 1, 2, 3. He had to hit him with both Shinsuke with both of his finishers. And I turned to my brother at the end. I was like, we may have just witnessed the last victory for AJ Styles in WWE if Gunther does retire him at the Rumble. Now, I don't think Gunther's going to retire him. But the fact that it could be, they're really making us think that this definitely was, this is probably his last match against Shinsuke Nakamura and his last match in Montreal. So that was true. And they did the sort of sit down fist bump, the bowing at the end, the respect. And that was just perfect. This was like a last minute match that didn't need a current story, because the story is what happened in the past. And the story is AJ's retiring this year. And this is their last time together. And excellent match. In the main event match, the Viper Randy Orton versus Damian Priest versus Trick Williams versus Montreal's own Sami Zayn. The winner is the number 1 contender who will face Drew McIntyre for the undisputed WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble. Okay, now, I've seen triple threat matches. I've seen fatal 4-way matches. And one of the best matches, well, actually my favorite match from last year, was the triple threat between Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. And one of the reasons why I thought it was so great was, unlike typical triple threat matches, there weren't really like rest spots. Like people, when somebody, it was all constant action back and forth. You couldn't really see when somebody was sort of laying out and coming back in. This one wasn't that. And when you see it live, it's, especially if you have a good view of everything, you can see people sort of like selling in the corner, and you can see when they come back into the ring, you can see that they're going to come back and interrupt the move. So that was honestly, like, if it wasn't for the fact that I had the enjoyment of seeing it live, that would take points off. Like that's my one little gripe about this match. But as far as the match itself, excellent end. Well, I mean, I'm very biased. I'm very happy. But the way they built up to that, Sami was in a lot at the beginning. And basically anybody, you see before the match, you can see Randy Orton's like smiling at the reaction Sami was getting. Randy's great, dancing to other people's music, the whole thing. He's kind of like the Kairi Sane of main event male wrestlers. But yeah, no, Randy was definitely dominant. He gave everyone, put everyone through the, not through the announce table, but slammed them onto the announce table. gave a bunch of RKOs, even gave an RKO to Sami, and he was out. But fortunately for the audience, Sami was able to come back. And at a few points, it looked like he was going to he gave a few haluva kicks, but there was always somebody to interrupt the pin. There were kickouts. There were people that's the thing with a fatal 4-way match. Moves get interrupted, like finisher moves. It's okay if they don't work because nobody's kicking out. Somebody just interrupts it. So it was really good, but they built it there. And I was thinking like, okay, fine. I know that it's for the local crowd, but yeah, there's another path to the title through the Royal Rumble for Sami. In fact, that might be an easier path than him beating Drew at the Rumble and Drew's first title defense. But I still wanted Sami to win. The crowd still wanted Sami to win for that feel-good moment. And we got it. And it made perfect sense. It was he just at the last minute, he got Priest down 1, 2, 3 from just it was not out of nowhere. It was set up. There was nobody there to stop the pin. And I'm so happy. It was such a great match to watch. So again, I probably, because of the fact that it wasn't like my ideal type of a 3-way or a 4-way match, I would have probably given it like an A-, and maybe bumped it up into an A for the sympathetic value of Sami Zayn winning. But again, seeing it live, the excitement in the room, that adds so much. So of course, like everything else on this show, is getting an A+. But it was a great moment, and the crowd, they were behind Randy. They were behind everyone, unless they went after Sami. That's a hometown crowd. Sami Zayn in Montreal is like CM Punk in Chicago. I'm hoping Sami Zayn in Saudi Arabia is the same thing too, and maybe he'll beat Drew. But regardless, Sami did give a nice speech to the crowd after the show.
I thank you for that, Montreal, but the truth is, there's a big part of me, there's a hole inside of me, because I feel like it's not me, it's you that deserve it. And I have talked for a long time about becoming a WWE champion, and yeah, that would be sure to be great. While that satisfies a part of my ego, if I'm being honest, I'd love to be a champion for my ego, but there's a bigger part of it that's more about making you proud. Rewarding you for having my back in this city for the last 23 years. And you guys, there's one thing about the city of Montreal, it's a city of believers. And if you don't trust what I'm saying, the Montreal Canadiens haven't won a cup since '93. This city never stopped believing.
Really putting over Montreal, saying they were his sort of the real reason, the reason why he needs to win this championship, and he's doing it for us. And just perfect local hometown, massively over babyface. But I think this is Sami's year, whether or not he wins it at the Rumble or at Mania or even later in the year. I do think Sami's going to be some sort of world champion this year. And I think this is what's starting that road. Even if the next step is not him winning it at the Rumble, or if it is, regardless, this is the start of that road. I'm so happy that that's good booking, have him start it in Montreal. And it was a short show. It was 2 hours. Now, I know they're not on NBC anymore, so I think that just means they don't have a hard out. But I realized later there was a UFC match scheduled for, I think right after it. So they TKO didn't want to compete with itself. So you know what? It was the shortest live thing I've been to, but at this point, it's still my favorite. It's definitely the most consequential. And just like the sheer involvement, like the excitement, this felt big. This felt big. This felt important. This felt like we were in the middle of something big and important. The road to Royal Rumble, kicking off the road to WrestleMania. I was so happy I saw this live. But do you agree with my takes on Saturday night's main event in Montreal? Were you there live also? Did you feel the same if you were, or did it work just as well on TV? Or TV or streaming? I get YouTube in Canada and the rest of the world, and Peacock in the States. Regardless, let me know in the comments. Follow Silo Voice Wrestling on Facebook and Instagram, Silo Wrestling on X, and me at Jason C. McLean on X and Instagram. Also, jasoncmclean.bsky.social on Bluesky. Jam-packed audience packing out. Until then, make sure you like, share, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications for all my wrestling hot takes, cold takes, some ring takes, wrestling opinion pieces, assorted thoughts on Raw and SmackDown, and WWE Premium Live Event and Saturday Night's Main Event prediction and review videos. Until next time, for Silo Voice Studios in Montreal, this is Jason C. McLean outside of the Bell Center.